Hi, welcome to Like a Boss, Built on Spiritual Success. I'm your host, Dr. June Deponte-Sernak, and it's great to have you with us. Being a boss is not just a job title, it's a mindset. It's that core belief system that we make all of our decisions by. It's what comes from within to fuel our passion. The women that we speak to on our show have such great stories to tell, and we're so excited to be able to share those stories with each of you so you can hear a little bit more about the fantastic work that they're doing. I'm so thrilled today to have one of my personal friends come and actually chat with us today. We work in a lot of the same networking circles. We have a lot of things in common. And I'm so happy with her busy schedule that she was able to take a few minutes out and to be able to spend some time with us. So I'd like to introduce our guest today, LaWana Boone. And let me tell you, she's got so many things that she's working on right now. It definitely makes me tired. So she's a freelance writer. She's taught high school. She was a candidate for alderman in a small town in Mississippi. She's an international flight attendant. Yes, I said international flight attendant, been all over the world. She's also an adjunct professor. She does training in diversity, equity, and inclusion. She's the founder and principal of a consulting group called Cultural Humility Consulting, LLC. And would you believe she's on deck for her first book called My Diverse Journey Around the World. So without further ado, I can't wait to welcome my guest, LaWana Boone. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me, June.
Oh, it is such a pleasure. I've watched your career and I've seen you do so many things that are just blossoming, and it is just so wonderful to be able to be in a room with other women that are doing so many amazing things, and I'm so thrilled to chat with you today. So tell us a little bit about this boss journey that you're on, because you have so much experience and so many great things.
Well, June, I guess I'm a little bit all over the place. I'm all over the place, but always going forward, always looking, crossing off new goals, new opportunities, and writing down those goals and checking them off as I go. So I'm just, all the way up.
That's fantastic. How did you get started going from teaching and things that you love in that area to then being a flight attendant has just got to be so exciting.
Well, I guess I had a really non-traditional journey. With most things in life, it's usually never the path that you anticipate. I've been a flight attendant longer than most of my family and closest friends could remember, but I've always embraced adding to that. I've always embraced finding new things and challenging myself and new opportunities. And actually my journey was, as I said, very non-traditional. However, most of it started with a really long, ugly divorce. And that ugly divorce led to a subsequent custody battle, and it went on for many, many years. But that was what I think really changed the trajectory of my life and got me to a place where I knew I wanted to do and I wanted more. So what I did is, as I said, it was very long. It was a really sad time in my life. But at one point I said to myself, I said, you know what? I don't think you were meant to just be in and out of court your entire life. You were meant to do greater things. God has more things in store for you. So at that point, I kind of gave up, the back and forth, the fighting and the bickering. And I said to myself, work on yourself, work on being the best that you can be. And from that point on, I went back to college. And at the age of 35, I graduated with a bachelor's degree. I got a bachelor's degree in English creative writing. And with that creative writing, I said, I want to be a writer. And I started writing things down. And I did not have a blueprint. I did not have any mentors, but I knew I wanted to be a freelance travel writer, which made sense due to the travel and my traveling background. And I studied the craft, and I just kept researching and finding opportunities here and there. And it took me a very long time. There were so many barriers and obstacles in my way. And after probably sending out about that, I ended up writing for AOL Travel, if anyone remembers AOL back in the day. And I had a column with them, a blog, Quintessential Charlotte by May Flowers. And May Flowers was my pseudonym that I used at the time. And the reason I used that pseudonym is, it was two reasons I used that pseudonym. The first reason was something told me, just the lack of diversity in writers, that a person by the name of LaWana probably wasn't going to get a travel writing gig. So I said to myself, let me come up with a name that is racially ambiguous, something that's catchy, that gets people's attention. And I came up with the name Mayflowers because there was a point in my life that I had spoke about with a divorce in which it was just a really dark time that I was going through. And I said, you know, one day my life is going to be better. One day the storm that I am, the storm that I'm in at this point is going to be over with. And those April showers will become.
That is absolutely fabulous. I got goosebumps, I think, when you were saying that. Because I feel like so many of the women that I talk to have had, you know, some points in their life that were really tough. Going through divorce is one of them. I went down that same journey at one point. And you think, oh my God, what a pain in the neck this process is. And you also think, how am I ever going to see our way clear?
Right.
And just like you looking at this for the opportunities of what's happening next is always just, I think it's so exciting. And I think that's maybe why my resume looks like yours, where there's a lot of different things on it, because we just have had opportunity to do so many things. Well, you mentioned a little bit about going through a rough time with having a divorce, but what are some of the other barriers?
Kill you makes you stronger. And a lot of times what was meant to destroy you also always ends up giving you more confidence just about whatever I'm going through. But in the morning, I am working on that master plan to see me through to the other side.
That's great. Is that something that, did you put together like a plan for yourself of like how you're going to meditate, or do you have something special that you do to help you to keep calm during those difficult times?
Well, whenever I'm in a situation where I'm in a foreign environment or something that I'm doing something, even like something like this today, that you need some support, I just say, God, walk for me. God, speak for me. Help me get through this. And that has been something that I've always found to be extremely helpful. Even though at that time I said I lost everything, I never lost my faith and my spirituality. So that's what pushes me forward.
That's fantastic, and I appreciate that so much. We talk a lot about this being that spiritual journey that you're on, and I think that other things that we chat about has to come from somewhere, and that's that inner strength that we have from a higher power, which I love that. So tell me a little bit about some of the highlights. I know we'll talk a little bit about your book as well, but were there other highlights that you've seen throughout your career? Like, what was one of your favorite things that you were able to do during your journey?
I think my time when I ran for public office, I ran for alderwoman, and that was like a really, really bold step in the community that I was living in. It was a small town in Mississippi, and I just wanted to make change because I saw many faces that looked like me, but not in leadership. So I just wanted to make change, and I was just bold and brazen and stepped out there and threw my name in the hat and moved forward. Even though I did not win, I learned some valuable lessons about confidence and being courageous.
That's fantastic. And considering this is such an important election year, and we talk to a lot of women that don't know where to begin, but would love to do something in public office. Would you recommend that for people to take that step and to try to go into that direction?
Absolutely, I would recommend it, because don't wait for someone else to make change. If you're there and if you see things in your community that you want to improve, you can step out there and you can make the change. And just believe in yourself. There are opportunities out there, but you have to believe in yourself and just push forward. And once you get countries that I was in, and I just wanted to write about some of the similarities and the disparities that exist, and I just wanted to highlight those in my book.
I love that. I think that cultural intelligence is definitely groundbreaking work, and I think that especially when you have certain areas that are limiting DEI work, limiting it in schools, limiting it in companies, that we still have to stay vigilant in this, because it's such an important area for us that really makes us have the ability to speak to people in so many different ways. And that's really unifying. So I love that, making it the humility part of this to really come through, which is just absolutely fantastic. What are some of the favorite countries that you visited on this journey?
Gosh, There's so many favorites. Every place, I'm a foodie, I love to eat. So many places have their unique perspectives, but just being a culturally humble person, I learned to embrace each and every country and culture that I arrive in, because I know there's something there that's beautiful and that I need to know and learn about. So just having an open mind, but I really don't have a favorite country because every place has its unique attributes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love travel, and I would like to do more of that. Actually, it's just such a wonderful time to be able to do those types of things, which is fantastic. So let's talk about some of your next steps. So you've accomplished so many different things. What's next for you? What types of things do you see yourself getting involved in your future?
Well, I've actually just started my own counseling, cultural humility consulting, in which I will be out and about in our community, South Jersey, talking to people, getting more corporate clients about being more culturally humble. And cultural humility is just an ongoing process. People talk about cultural competence. Cultural competence is, hey, I've learned all I can about culture and I'm done. You're never done. I'm constantly learning about new cultures, even though I've traveled the world many times. Just being more culturally humble and teaching teams, organizations, how to be more culturally humble, how to embrace others. And it's a lifelong process. It's not something that you just learn overnight. You're always open to learning about races, religions, ethnicities, and just how people do things differently in other places, and not assuming that your way is the only way. Just being welcoming to others.
Will you have a specific area of focus? Will you be working with nonprofits or for-profits, women? Are there any specific subgroups that you're going to be working with?
I am willing to work with whomever is willing to work with me. I am open to new challenges and educating people. I want to educate people, and that's what I do. I'm also a part-time adjunct professor, and I teach DEI. So, and now I'm teaching DEI to nursing students to make sure that those nursing students go into the workforce prepared and culturally humble, and having empathy when they meet with new patients, and having an open mind, no matter what the person's race, ethnicity, sexual orientation is, treating them like a human being.
I think that's one of the things that I found that I wasn't aware of, is that a lot of professions that we all deal with don't have a background in diversity, equity, and inclusion. That they're taught their craft, they're taught their specific area that they're involved in, but they don't overlay that with what cultural differences are, which I always found that to be just a very interesting way. I would have thought that would be a foundational course that everyone should have to take. But I guess that's the reason why we do the work that we do, just to continue that. Do you find that also, that you're surprised at some of the things that you're learning in this space?
Absolutely, I'm extremely surprised. DEI should be in the fabric of every organization. It should be with our teachers that are teaching our children, with our law enforcement officers, medical personnel. Everyone should have DEI woven into their fabric, because everyone doesn't come from the same place. Everyone is not from a cultural metropolis like New York City. We have people that come from very rural, small towns, and then they go into nursing, and they have some of these biases that they carry with them. So those need to be broken down, and for them to learn about other cultures, a part of their training process. And at the university that I teach in, that's exactly what they do. They're learning their nursing curriculum, and also this is a required course to make sure that they are getting all of the elements of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
That's fantastic. I know that in the state of New Jersey we have such really challenging statistics, especially with maternal health and maternal health care. So it's great to see that being a part of the foundation of what that nursing program is like, because we've seen so many different cases of people that are just not treated fairly or don't have access to health care the way we need that. And so there's so many different disparities within that as well, which is fantastic. Any other groups of students that you think that you'll be working with as well? How young do you think they'll end up being? Because I think you're teaching at a college level now.
Yeah, I embraced college level. I have taught high school, but college level is, I'm more passionate about college students.
Yeah, I enjoy
Yeah.
that as well. You know, and I think that the more we have these conversations, it's a new way for people to think. It changes the paradigm. It actually forces us to kind of reevaluate a lot of things.
Yeah.
We had to really be self-reflective in order to do this work, which I think is great. Can you tell us a little bit about how it was growing up in Mississippi and then to all the things that you're doing today? Is that a very different mindset and climate from what you grew up with?
Well, actually, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and I've lived in many, many cities with my parents and, of course, with my occupation and my previous marriage. So I've lived in a multitude of cities, but all in the U.S., but my travels have been all over. So as I said, I just have moved around a lot, but I embrace each and every place and culture that I'm in. Here in South Jersey, I have learned to just really embrace the community. I've met so many amazing people like yourself that have really just welcomed me into this community. But yeah, lots of parallels, lots of differences, but you know, I just basically just kind of fit in wherever I go, just because of my background that I'm accustomed to making new friends in new places.
That's absolutely fantastic. I think that networking is a big part of the work that both of us do. And not everybody feels comfortable going into a room, especially with people that they're not familiar with. Do you have any suggestions for someone who's breaking into this type of environment of how to network and start to feel comfortable with being out there and in front of people?
Just walk in with confidence, be positive, learn how to introduce yourself to people, and I would say the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Just, you know, and don't always have that crutch of a friend. When you bring a person with you, you will depend on that person. So go in by yourself and get your elevator pitch together. Know exactly what it is you can say within 3 to 5 seconds to tell people who you are. And just be yourself, and you'll make new friends and build your network in no time. And also, of course, stay on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Do you use social media a lot for your marketing of the things that you're doing?
Yes, absolutely. It's great to hear of events that are going on that you wouldn't hear about because we're all so busy with our personal lives. You can get on LinkedIn and say, hey, this is going on over here. Perhaps I can go to this or I can go to that. So yeah, social media is a very powerful tool to really jumpstart your career as well.
I love that. I think that that's a great way for us to be able to continue to build our networks. I'm also seeing like success in being able to even look at LinkedIn to answer some of the questions that they might have that keeps us relevant with some of the topics that they're dealing with, and writing articles and sharing things like that, and kind of starting our own blog, if you will, of viewpoints of those things. I think that's also something that's been able to give people an opportunity to interact and get to meet people that we might not speak to on a frequent basis. Absolutely. So is there anything else you'd like to share about your journey that you're working on? Because I know you've got some great things ahead.
Yeah, just working on chipping away at my book. But of course, we all need more time. 24 hours a day. I don't know who came up with that, but we need more time. But just chipping away at my book little by little and just filling in those chapters. And hopefully soon it will be a completed project. But until then, just being in the community, talking with people about diversity, equity, and inclusion as much as possible. I see a lot online about DEI is dead. I'm not going to embrace that. And I'm going to keep on pushing forward with my message.
Yeah, I totally agree. DEI is far from dead. It's just repurposed now in a way that we need to be able to open up some really critical conversations for people to understand the importance of being seen and belonging, and really that's probably a critical factor to what we're doing. So just share with us any other nuggets of inspiration that you found along the way. Are there any quotes or books that you've used or things that you've taken into consideration for the work that you do?
Let's see. I really never had a lot of, I was a non-traditional student, as I said, so I really never had like a role model that I followed after, but I always looked up to powerful women, fierce women like Ida B. Wells, or she's also from Mississippi. Fierce women like Zora Neale Hurston, anthropologist. So I've always looked at people in history to really push me forward, and fierce women that were out there champions for their causes. A quote. Yes, I do have a quote, because as I said, I always say that I ask God to walk in spaces with me and speak for me. And I'm going to look directly at the camera when I say this. You better walk into that room like God sent you there. And what I mean by that is walk into that room with confidence. Walk into that room, we are rebuking any form of imposter syndrome. You've done the work. You deserve to be in this space.
That's wonderful. That really is. I know you mentioned a couple women that you really have emulated over the years. Did you have a mentor, or did you have someone that you worked with during any of the parts of your life? Because I know I've had mentors over the years, both male and female mentors, that have just helped push me along the way and given me, you know, not only encouragement, but also paved the pathway for me before I got there. Were there other people that you've worked with too over the years that you felt were mentors to you?
Honestly, no. I pushed myself. I always pushed myself, and I advocated for self. However, later in life, now I have several mentors, you being one of them. I remember being at a conference one day and watching the speaker articulate her message. And I just looked over at you and I passed you a note and I said, June, I think I could do this. And you wrote back, you could. And just those 2 or 3 words, a person doesn't know the impact that has, the impact that someone else can see and believe in you. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And that's from where my journey began on cultural humility consulting. It was born at that moment. And next thing you know, I got my EIN number and I'm on the way.
And those are the things that I love, those stories, because there's enough in it for all of us to win. And I think that's one of the beauty about Like a Boss. We do things because we know that we can make an impact and that we can bring people along with us and that no one's left behind on our watch. And I think that that's absolutely fantastic. Well, kind of as we wrap up, how can people find you? How can they follow you and see all the great things that you're doing on social media or in other ways that they can find you?
Well, as I said before, I am a LinkedIn junkie. So I'm always on LinkedIn. If you're looking for me, you can find me on LinkedIn by my name, LaWana Boone, and you can see all of the things that I have going and opportunities and my availability for speaking engagements via Cultural Humility Consulting.
Great. Well, thank you so much as we conclude our day today. Thank you so much. It was great to have you join us. So much great information that you shared with us. And again, being on Like a Boss, built on spiritual success, it gives you that foundational piece of all the wonderful things that we know that we can do that are ahead of you. So for you, my friend, I know you're going to do wonderful things, and I can't wait to see what's next. And we thank all of you for joining us. Take care.
Thank you, June.
Green salad up, green salad down, last time.